Hi there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. I'm Angela, and today's video I'm going to be showing you guys what's going on in my garden and anything new, things I've been working on this past week. If that sounds interesting, stick around. It might be worth noting that while our spring was pretty much solid rain day after day after day, it's been a few days now since we've had any rain. So I am going to have to get this garden watered, especially because I seeded some things this past week, namely melons, squash, and sunflowers, and ironically, we didn't get any rain after that. So I need to be watering if I want those seeds to sprout. And I'm also going to have to start getting on some regular watering schedule for times when we go for a few days without rain. And that also includes all the trees I've planted this year. I'm going to have to haul water down to those, get those watered in really good. I try to make sure I keep trees, shrubs, newly planted ones, well watered, at least for the first year, or especially through the first summer. They really depend on us to water them if we're not getting a lot of rain, just to help them get established if it's, if they've just been planted right before it's getting so hot outside. So today's going to be a day of watering for me. And other than that, that might be it. So I'm going to show you guys what I've done this week, and then I'll meet you back here. Before we take a look at the new things that I've gotten in, I wanted to show you my garlic. It has gotten its scapes, and I'll cut these off either way, but I'm not sure if I will be doing anything with those. Sometimes I'll make pesto with the garlic scapes. I might go ahead and do that this year. I hate to see them go to waste, and I don't know if anybody at work would want them. You can make a really good pesto with garlic scapes though. So what I have done is to get some melons planted and squash and some sunflowers. So these 3 grow bags right here lining up along the greenhouse, I've gotten melons in. So I've got 5 or 6 types of melons in here, and I did double up and put 2 different varieties in each of these 3 grow bags just to maximize the space. And of course I got my nice sturdy cages here for them to climb up on. I've got golden jenny, those are good, I've grown them before. Honey rock cantaloupe, that's a good one. Kajari, also have been growing that for years. That's a good melon. And what else? I've got kind of lost track. I've been rushing to get all these seeds in. I said honey rock, Kazakh. I've not grown that one before. And then another new one is canary yellow. I have not grown that one before. So I'm pretty excited about that. And in these 2, these are larger grow bags that I've been showing, I think 20 gallons. I've got sunflowers mostly in these 2, and black-eyed Susan vine. Of course, nothing has sprouted yet, and that's probably because I have not been watering. I was counting on that continuous rain, and it kind of stopped. It's okay. I'm going to get everything watered and get it on a watering schedule. Then what I ended up doing, where my tomatoes were failing in these grow bags that I have all along in these rows, I went ahead and I needed to get my squash in. So where there were tomatoes that were just miserably failing, like stunted, not growing at all, I went ahead and yanked those out and put different varieties of squash in there. I thought better to be able to utilize the space than to keep nursing along these tomatoes that probably aren't going to amount to much. And I still do have a number of tomatoes that may never flourish. So I have a lot of other things, that I can use the space for. I think I've got a crookneck squash coming up there. Yeah. Take you in a little closer. So that's pretty exciting. I haven't been out here in a couple of days. I've been I haven't been home a lot. I've just been busy with work and appointments and things like that. So it's good to get out here. It's always good to be in your garden. It's not good if you spend days away from your garden, or at least for me, at least I've found that to be true. I also have tomatoes in here, and I've yanked some of those out as well for squash and other things. I've got a cash flow squash seeded in here, and I'm noticing seeds that's been popped open. It's not like a whole seed anymore. Okay, that's okay. Thankfully, at least some of my tomato plants are doing okay. It's another reason why I don't feel bad about overseeding. Like, I put in way more seeds than I need, and this is kind of why, because I know that some will fail or get eaten by the wildlife once they turn into plants. So I have some fallbacks, which is nice. And by far my best one yet, tomato plant that is this mushroom basket. This is new for me this year. I'm not seeing any flowers on it yet, but the plant is looking really good. And I've got, this is I just have it tagged as Bumblebee, but I think that the full name of this tomato is maybe Sunrise Bumblebee. I'll put it up on the screen if that is not right. So those probably are my two best ones so far. I've made a lot of progress on my two 12-foot beds here. If you've been hanging out with me for any length of time, then you'll know that my intention is to resituate these two beds because they're too shaded where they are. So what I needed to do before that was to get all the soil out of them so we could lift them up out of the ground and relocate them. So it wasn't really that big deal of a job. I was dreading it, but what I ended up doing was just shoveling out all along the perimeter on the inside and kind of piling a lot of the soil up in the middle there. I think that I've gotten enough of the soil from around the edges that we'll easily be able to pry them up and lift them up and turn them. They're just going to get turned 90 degrees to what they are now. So I'm hoping to get that done this week, get the soil resituated back in them so that I can start planting in them this year. That's been on my project plan for a couple of years, and I've just been a slacker about it. I was dreading it, frankly, but as with most things that you dread, once I started doing it, it wasn't terrible. My peppers are not doing well. I've kind of given up on a lot of them, and the ones that are doing pretty well, like this cayenne, I'm thinking that I may pull those pot or grow bag out and put them in a better location, and then just reseed any other ones with something else, which I have already started to do, just once again so I can keep the garden rolling and not let these pots just languish with nothing growing in them. Like, I put an eggplant in here, and I think that this is not enough soil or space for this, so I might end up transplanting that. We'll see. Yeah, it's disappointing, but sometimes it's just like that. This is my Sugar Rush peach that is really going like gangbusters. I've got flowers. I don't see any fruit on it yet, but it won't be long. Potatoes are still looking good. A lot of them, some of them have their flowers. I love potato flowers. They just look so dainty. So those are doing well. And before we know it, it'll be time to harvest the garlic. And my onions are kind of lagging. They're just lagging behind. They started off pretty well. I seeded those back in February in the house, and they were doing, pretty well, but they just really are not taking off. So I don't know what's up with that. I'm gonna keep working with them though. I love it when you can pull a weed out by the root and the whole thing comes out. So satisfying. And this group here is kind of my hodgepodge. I've got some flowers, herbs. I've got some ground cherries in here. And one of the pots back there has an eggplant in it. So it's just a whole mishmash of stuff that I just kind of threw in. I think it'll be really pretty when everything grows up. Like just a total mishmash of flowers and vegetables and herbs, different textures and shades of green. And I've got 3 pots of basil. These are different types of basil here. These are doing pretty well. This is cinnamon basil. That was a free seed from Baker Creek one year. If you buy so many packs of seeds or spend like $10 or however much, they'll throw in like a pack of seeds. This is Siam Queen Thai basil, and this one here is dark opal. And all 3 of these took a hit from the slugs early on when we were having all that rain, but they're doing pretty good now. Seem to have recovered. So that's about all I've done in the garden this week, and I'd love to know what you're up to. What are you working on in your garden? I may be back later on this week with another hiking video. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That might be something that I do with some regularity all through the summer. We'll see how it goes. Otherwise, I will meet you back here next week for another garden vlog. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great week.